My dear friends, life is not about waiting for things to improve. Life is about improving ourselves step by step, every single day. The world is quick to point out what's wrong with us, but true growth begins when we take responsibility to build ourselves. So today, I want to share with you not 30 things, not 300 things, just 3 simple but powerful things that if you apply, will completely transform you. Because it's not the big changes that shape us, it's the little, consistent improvements that make us truly extraordinary. My dear friends, when we talk about improvement, the very first thing we must begin with is the mindset. Because no matter how talented you are, no matter how many resources you have, if your mindset is negative, nothing will ever feel enough. On the other hand, even if you have very little, but your mindset is positive, you will find ways to create joy, opportunities, and progress. Think about this: 2 people go through the same difficulty. One person says, "Why me? Life is so unfair. Why does this always happen to me?" And the other person, facing the exact same situation, says, "What can I learn from this? How can this make me stronger?" The difference is not in the situation. The difference is in the mindset. Our mind is like a lens. If the lens is dirty, everything you see will look blurred and ugly. But if the lens is clean, the same world suddenly looks bright and beautiful. Life has always been the same. It is our perception that makes it painful or peaceful. Many people believe that success comes from skills, from luck, or from wealth. But the truth is, success begins first in the mind. If you think you cannot, then you have already lost before you've even tried. But if you believe that you can, you will find the energy, the ideas, and the people to help you move forward. Let me share with you something simple. A seed, when planted, does not grow into a tree overnight. It takes time, nurturing sunlight, and patience. But if the seed itself believes, "I will never grow, I am too small, I am too weak," imagine how absurd that sounds. Yet, that's exactly how many of us think about ourselves. I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not capable enough. The truth is, all of us have the potential to grow into strong trees, to give shade, to give fruits, to give beauty to the world. But it begins with the belief that we can. When your mindset shifts from problem focused to possibility focused, life changes dramatically. A setback is no longer the end of the road, it becomes a detour to a better direction. A failure is no longer your identity, it becomes your teacher. A challenge is no longer your punishment, it becomes your opportunity. And let's be honest, negative thinking is easy, complaining is easy, blaming is easy. But the real strength lies in choosing a different perspective. It's not about denying reality, but about seeing reality through a lens of growth. Instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" ask, "What can this teach me?" Instead of saying, "I failed," say, "I learned." Instead of saying, "I'm stuck," say, "I'm being prepared for something greater." The most powerful tool you carry every day is not your phone, not your wallet, not your degree, it's your mindset. Guard it, train it, elevate it. Because if you improve your mindset, you improve your life. My dear friends, the second thing that truly improves us is our habits. Because life is not built in one grand moment of success, it is built in the small things we do repeatedly, day after day. We often admire people who have achieved greatness, but if you look closely, you will see that it wasn't one giant step that made them extraordinary. It was thousands of small, consistent steps. Think about it. A drop of water falling on a rock every day seems powerless, but over time it carves a hole in the stone. That's the power of habits. They may feel small, even insignificant in the moment, but when repeated with consistency, they shape our destiny. On the other hand, even small negative habits, when repeated, can destroy the best of talents and opportunities. If you sleep late every night, scroll endlessly on your phone, neglect your health, or surround yourself with negative people, none of these things will ruin you in one day. But over weeks, months, and years, they quietly eat away at your potential. In the same way, if you wake up a little earlier, read even one page of a good book, exercise just for 15 minutes, or show a little gratitude before sleeping, none of these things may transform you in one day. But over time, they turn you into someone powerful, peaceful, and purposeful. Habits are like the steering wheel of your life. They quietly decide where you will end up. Success is never an accident, it is the result of disciplined habits. And failure is also rarely sudden, it is often the result of neglected habits. What you do daily is far more important than what you do occasionally. Let me give you an example. Imagine brushing your teeth. If you skip brushing for one day, nothing much happens. If you skip it for 1 week, maybe still nothing noticeable. But skip it for 1 year, and the damage will be severe. That's exactly how habits work. A little negligence feels harmless in the beginning, but it compounds into destruction later. Similarly, a little discipline feels boring in the beginning, but it compounds into greatness later. The challenge is that bad habits often feel pleasurable in the short term, but painful in the long term, while good habits often feel painful in the short term, but rewarding in the long term. Eating junk food feels enjoyable now, but creates health issues later. Exercising may feel difficult now, but creates strength, energy, and confidence later. Gossiping may feel entertaining now, but destroys trust and relationships later. Speaking kindly may take effort now, but builds strong connections for life. That's why wisdom is not choosing what feels good immediately. Wisdom is choosing what is good eventually. And habits are the daily training ground for this wisdom. If you want to improve your life, don't try to change everything at once. Just start with one habit. One small, meaningful habit practiced daily is far more powerful than making 10 resolutions you cannot keep. Replace one negative habit with one positive one. Maybe instead of checking your phone the first thing in the morning, take 2 minutes to sit silently and breathe. Instead of complaining about your day before sleeping, write down one thing you are grateful for. Instead of spending an hour comparing your life to others on social media, spend 10 minutes working on yourself. Remember this: your habits are your future in disguise. If you want to know where you'll be 5 years from now, just look at the habits you're practicing today. They are like seeds. Whatever you plant daily, you will surely harvest eventually. So if you truly want to improve yourself, don't wait for a big miracle. Don't wait for perfect conditions. Don't wait for someone to push you. Just start with your habits. Because in the end, we don't decide our future, we decide our habits. And our habits decide our future. My dear friends, the third thing that improves us in life is our relationships. You see, no matter how successful you are, no matter how much money you have, no matter how many achievements you collect, if your relationships are broken, life feels empty. On the other hand, even if you don't have much, but you are surrounded by people who love you, support you, and stand with you, life feels complete. We are not islands, we are not meant to live alone. Human beings are wired for connection. From the moment we are born, we thrive because of relationships. A child grows because the mother nurtures. A student learns because the teacher guides. A friend survives tough times because another friend stands by his side. Our relationships define the quality of our life. But let us reflect honestly. In this fast paced world, we are often busy building careers, chasing goals, and upgrading our gadgets. Yet we sometimes forget to upgrade our relationships. We update our phones every few months, but when was the last time we updated the way we treat our spouse, our parents, our children, or our friends? Many of us are connected with thousands of people online, yet feel lonely inside. Because true connection is not about the number of contacts in your phone. It's about the depth of the relationships in your life. Relationships require investment of time, attention, patience, and kindness. If you water a plant daily, it grows beautifully. But if you neglect it, it withers. The same is true for human bonds. If we don't nurture them, if we don't give them time, if we don't listen, they weaken silently. And when tough times come, we suddenly realize that the very people we needed are no longer as close as they once were. Sometimes, we misunderstand improvement as a very personal, individualistic journey. But true improvement also means improving the way we treat others. A person who meditates daily, eats healthy food, earns a great salary, but cannot respect others, cannot forgive, cannot love, that person has not truly improved. What use is external success if our inner world is filled with broken bonds and bitter hearts? And remember, relationships are not about perfection, they are about presence. Nobody is perfect. Your parents are not perfect. Your spouse is not perfect. Your friends are not perfect. And neither are you. But the willingness to forgive, to accept, to work through differences, that is what makes relationships stronger. Think about it. The strongest bridges are not the ones that never face storms. They are the ones that endure storms and still stand tall. Similarly, the strongest relationships are not the ones where there are no disagreements, but the ones where disagreements are handled with respect and love. Let me share a small reflection. A wise person once said, "If you want to know how rich you are, count the number of people who would cry if you died tomorrow." It sounds intense, but it's true. At the end of the day, the bank balance in your account is not as valuable as the balance of love in your life. So, how do we improve our relationships? Start with something simple. Listen. Truly listen. Not with the intention to reply, but with the intention to understand. Give people your time, even if it's just a few minutes of undistracted presence. Appreciate them for small things. Say thank you often. Say, "I'm sorry" when needed. Sometimes those two words, thank you and sorry, are worth more than diamonds. And above all, show love in action, not just in words. It's easy to say, "I care," but it means more when you actually show up when someone needs you. Sometimes just sitting silently beside someone in their pain means more than giving a long lecture. When we improve our relationships, we improve ourselves. Because people are mirrors. They reflect back to us who we are. If we are harsh, we will see harshness returned. If we are kind, we will see kindness multiplied. Improving your relationships is not just about making others happy. It is about shaping the best version of yourself. So, my friends, never underestimate the power of relationships. Build them, nurture them, heal them. Because in the end, when we look back at life, we will not remember every salary slip, every exam grade, every social media like. We will remember the faces, the laughter, the tears, the hugs, and the hearts that walked with us through the journey. Improving your relationships is not just a part of life, it is the very essence of life. My dear friends, one of the greatest things that can improve us is the ability to choose growth over comfort. You see, comfort is sweet, but it is deceptive. Comfort whispers to us, stay here, don't move, don't try, don't take the risk. Why struggle when you can just relax? And the truth is, in the moment, comfort feels good. A soft couch, endless scrolling, eating whatever we want, avoiding difficult conversations. It feels safe. But over time, comfort silently kills our potential. Growth, on the other hand, does not always feel good immediately. Growth requires effort, discipline, sacrifice, and sometimes even pain. It asks us to wake up early when we want to sleep more, to study when we want to relax, to work out when we'd rather sit down, to forgive when we'd rather stay angry, to try again when we'd rather quit. Growth feels uncomfortable in the present, but it rewards us richly in the future. Let's think of a simple example. If you plant a seed in a pot and never allow it to face the sun, the rain, the wind, it may remain safe in the soil, but it will never grow into a tree. The very struggles that seem harsh, the sunlight, the storm, the pressure of the soil, are what make the seed strong enough to push upward. Without them, growth is impossible. And so it is with us. The struggles that we try to avoid are often the very conditions we need in order to grow. Many people remain stuck not because they lack talent, not because they lack opportunity, but because they have chosen comfort over growth. They stay in jobs they don't like, in routines that don't inspire them, in friendships that don't help them, just because it feels comfortable. And slowly, without realizing, their dreams start shrinking, their energy starts fading, and their life becomes smaller and smaller. But when we choose growth, we choose expansion. We choose to stretch ourselves beyond what we already know. We choose to step into the unknown with courage. Growth doesn't mean everything will be easy. It means we become stronger to handle what is not easy. Comfort keeps us the same, growth transforms us. Think about your muscles. If you never lift any weight, your muscles stay weak. The moment you put them under tension, they hurt, they burn, but they grow. In life, challenges are those weights. They may feel heavy now, but they are the very things that make your character, your wisdom, and your resilience stronger. There's a simple but powerful truth. Everything you deeply want in life lies just outside your comfort zone. Confidence lies outside the comfort zone of fear. Success lies outside the comfort zone of laziness. Wisdom lies outside the comfort zone of ignorance. And love lies outside the comfort zone of ego. If we are willing to step out, we will find treasures we never imagined. Of course, the comfort zone is tempting. It's warm, it's easy, it's familiar. But remember this, nothing grows there. If you want flowers, you must step out into the garden, into the sun. If you want a harvest, you must sow seeds in the soil, not keep them safe in a jar. Safety may preserve the seed, but it will never fulfill its potential. Let me share with you something to reflect on. At the end of life, people rarely regret the things they did. They regret the chances they didn't take, the opportunities they let pass, the growth they avoided because they were too comfortable. They regret saying, I wish I had tried, instead of saying, I tried and I learned. Choosing growth is not about running away from comfort forever. It is about not letting comfort control you. It's about knowing when to rest, but also when to rise, when to take it easy, but also when to challenge yourself. Growth means balance, using comfort as a place to recharge, not a place to live forever. So, my friends, if you want to improve your life, ask yourself this question every day. Am I choosing comfort or am I choosing growth? If you find yourself always taking the easy road, pause. Step out. Challenge yourself a little. Start small, but start. Because a life of growth may be harder, but it is always more meaningful. And at the end, meaning is what makes life beautiful. My dear friends, one of the most powerful qualities that can truly improve us is the ability to respond, not react. It may sound like a small difference in words, but it makes a huge difference in life. Reactions are immediate, emotional, often impulsive. Responses are thoughtful, mindful, and intentional. The way we handle our emotions in critical moments decides the quality of our relationships, the success of our career, and the peace of our mind. Let me give you a simple example. Imagine someone insults you. A reaction would be to immediately shout back, to throw anger at anger, to let the fire burn hotter. But what happens? You may feel satisfied for a moment, but later you regret your words, you damage the relationship, and you carry guilt or shame. On the other hand, if you pause, breathe, and choose a response, you might remain calm, speak respectfully, or even walk away with dignity. In that moment, you didn't lose your peace, and you didn't lose your respect. That is the power of response over reaction. Our mind is like a glass of water. If it is still, you can see clearly through it. If it is shaken, everything becomes blurry. Reactions come when the mind is shaken. Responses come when the mind is still. The more we train ourselves to stay calm in the face of provocation, the clearer our decisions become. Let's be honest, life will always give us triggers. People will say things we don't like. Circumstances will not always go our way. Sometimes traffic will irritate us. Sometimes colleagues will frustrate us. Sometimes family members will hurt us. These things are not in our control. But what is in our control is how we deal with them. And that choice, to react or to respond, decides whether we rise above the situation or sink into it. Think about great leaders, wise teachers, or even those elders in our family who seem unshakable. What makes them different is not that life is easier for them. It is that they have trained themselves to respond wisely rather than react blindly. A reaction creates chaos, a response creates clarity. A reaction closes doors, a response opens solutions. You see, reacting is the default of the ego. It wants to prove itself right, it wants to dominate, it wants to win every battle. But responding is the practice of wisdom. It doesn't ask, how can I win this argument? It asks, what will create peace? What will bring the best outcome? What will keep my dignity? Responding is not weakness, it is the highest form of strength. One of the greatest tools for learning to respond is the pause. Between a trigger and your action, there is always a small gap. If you learn to pause in that gap, even for just a few seconds, you gain power. In that pause, you can breathe, you can reflect, you can ask yourself, is what I'm about to say or do going to help or harm? Will I regret this later? And with that awareness, you can shift from a reaction to a response. Let me illustrate with a story. Once a monk was insulted by a man on the street. The man shouted, cursed, and said the harshest things. But the monk stood silently with a gentle smile. After some time, the man asked, why aren't you reacting? Don't you feel insulted? The monk replied, if someone brings you a gift and you refuse to accept it, who does it belong to? It stays with the giver. Your anger is your gift, my friend, and today I simply refuse to accept it. That is the art of responding. Reactions are often quick but costly. Responses take time but save relationships, save peace, and save dignity. And the beauty is, once you practice this regularly, it becomes natural. You will find yourself calmer, more respected, and more in control of your life. Remember this, one harsh reaction can break years of trust, but one wise response can heal years of pain. So, the next time you are triggered, pause, breathe, choose your response. Because life is not about controlling what happens to you. It is about controlling how you respond to what happens. My dear friends, if there is one quality that can keep us improving throughout our lives, it is the willingness to be a student always. You see, the moment we think, I know everything, I don't need to learn anymore, that is the exact moment our growth stops. Life is the greatest university, and every day is a classroom. The people around us, the challenges we face, even the mistakes we make, they are all teachers. The question is, are we willing to remain students? Think about it. A glass that is already full cannot take in more water. In the same way, a mind that is full of arrogance cannot absorb new wisdom. But a mind that stays humble, that stays curious, that stays open, it keeps receiving, it keeps learning, and therefore it keeps improving. Some people believe that learning ends with school or college. But the truth is, the real education begins after graduation. Textbooks may close, but life continues to test us every day. And unlike school, life doesn't give us the lessons first and the exam later. Life gives us the exam first and then the lesson afterward. If we don't remain students, we miss the meaning of those lessons. Even the most successful people on the planet, leaders, entrepreneurs, spiritual teachers, are students at heart. They read, they listen, they observe, they ask questions. That's why they continue to grow. On the other hand, many ordinary people stop learning the moment they achieve a little success. They become proud, rigid, and resistant to new ideas. And slowly, life passes them by. Let me share something simple. A child asks questions without fear. Why is the sky blue? Why do birds fly? Why is the moon round? That curiosity makes the child learn faster than anyone else. But as we grow older, we stop asking questions because of our ego. We feel embarrassed to admit we don't know. But the truth is, wisdom doesn't come from pretending to know. It comes from the courage to say, I don't know, please teach me. In relationships too, remaining a student helps us improve. Instead of assuming we know everything about our spouse, our children, or our friends, we keep discovering them, learning about their needs, their emotions, their world. That curiosity makes the bond stronger. In our career, if we stay a student, we adapt to new skills, new technologies, new challenges. Those who refuse to learn become outdated. Those who keep learning remain valuable. Even spiritually, being a student always keeps us grounded. It reminds us that life is bigger than us, that there is always more to understand, that humility is the foundation of wisdom. A person who kneels to learn will always stand taller in life than someone who refuses to bow to knowledge. But let's be honest, remaining a student requires humility. It requires us to let go of pride. It requires us to listen even when we think we already know. Sometimes the lesson comes from unexpected places, from a child, from a stranger, from a failure, or even from our enemy. If we are willing to learn, everything around us becomes our teacher. And remember, this learning is not just about adding more information. It is about transformation. It's not about how many books you read, but how many lives those books help you improve, starting with your own. It's not about how many quotes you can repeat, but how much wisdom you can live. So, my friends, never stop being a student. Stay curious, stay humble, stay open, because the day you stop learning is the day you stop growing, and the day you stop growing is the day you stop truly living. Improvement is not about reaching a destination. It is about being a student of life until your very last breath. My dear friends, if there is one principle that has the power to not only improve you, but also improve the world around you. It is the ability to serve others selflessly. In today's world, so much of our energy is focused on me, my career, my comfort, my money, my happiness, my success. And while it is natural to think of our needs, the truth is life becomes deeper, richer, and more meaningful when we begin